Hey everyone, this is Roberta Eastman from Home Buyers Inventory, and today we have a very important money saving tips. 10 simple tips to save money on your home heating. That is a huge expense for all of us, so I wanted to share with you some tips on how to save money on your home heating today. This is Home Buyers Inventory Q&A number 37. And with energy costs higher than they have ever been in recent history, it pays to find ways to reduce your home heating costs. I put together some tips that are easy, cost-effective, and will all add up to a reduction in your home heating bills by a significant amount. And some of these just take a minute or two. And even small changes will add up to big savings over the course of this cold winter. And here are the 10 tips that I've personally used to save on my home heating costs. Now, my furnace happens to sound like an airplane taking off. So one of the things that I've done is I've done a little bit of zone heating. And so I've got this inverter that sits in my wall. It's kind of like an air conditioner and a heater. And so I'm able to do just the heating of that room. Also, another way to do it would be to have a fireplace and use that for heating. But my fireplace in my house doesn't work, so I ended up having to buy an electric fireplace, which of course, you may be saving on the gas from the furnace, but now you're charging on the electric. If you have solar, then electric fireplace is okay. But if you don't, then that can be a pretty hefty bill. But those are a couple of the other ways not mentioned in the 10 tips today that I've been able to save. And the reason I did the inverters was because, like I said, my furnace sounded like an airplane taking off. So anyway, let's go ahead and get started on the 10 tips that I've personally used to save on my home that you can do too. You don't need solar. You don't need to worry about the electric. These are tips that you can easily do and reduce by a significant amount, like I said, on your heating bill. So let's go ahead and get started. So number one, head down to the basement and reduce the setting on your hot water thermostat by about 10 degrees. Now, I wouldn't go below 120 to 115 degrees. The adjustment dial is typically a red knob towards the bottom of the water tank. While you're downstairs or at your water tank, if it's not downstairs, it might be in a closet, make sure you have clean filters for your central air heating and unit. And you could have a unit that does both air conditioning and heat, or you could have separate units. So make sure that all of your air conditioning, if you happen to have it, and all of your heating units have fresh, clean filters. You can buy the washable ones, and even though they're more money up front, they over time become less money because you can rewash them and use them again versus having to go out and buy new ones. Where I always get stuck when I was using the ones that I had to keep buying was I could never remember the filter number. So finally I decided to take a picture of it because it was just getting crazy. I'd get to the store and I'd forget. So I ended up going with the ones that you can just wash out and put back in. You do have to wait for them to dry, but that's okay. If you're doing it at a time where you don't really need your unit, then it's no big deal. They dry pretty quickly. A dirty and clogged filter will force your unit to work much harder and stay on longer as it struggles to push the fresh air through the clogged filter to heat the rest of your house. Number 3, check your air ducts for gaps, leaks, or disconnects. If you have any disconnects or leaks in your ductwork, your heating bills could be 25% higher than they need to be. That's where a lot of the inefficiencies are in a home. And if you can't do this on your own, then hire a professional to do it. The expert that you do hire for this can also clean your ducts for some added efficiency. Number 4, adjust your thermostat a few degrees lower. Believe me, this one really adds up. It may not seem like much of a difference to you, but you will notice a difference when you get that lower bill each month. And number 5, while we're on the subject of thermostats, consider replacing yours if it is not a programmable. The reason is you can set the thermostat so that the temperature setting in your house is lower at night than during the day and when you are awake. And also, if you're away at work during the day, you can set it for a lower temperature and have it programmed to start heating the house a little bit before you come home. That's always nice. You've been able to save all day, and especially on the electric, because the electric companies charge a peak time and an off-peak time. So any way that you can save money by programming your heating or air conditioning to start just before you get home, it'll meet your needs of being warm and toasty or cooler if it's air conditioning, but also save you money at the same time. And these programmable thermostats, they aren't too expensive and they're easy to install and configure on your own. Number 6 is insulate your attic. So a lot of states have various insulation requirements or codes, and anything over our R19 in an attic is really good. So make sure you have good venting and stuff, but if you insulate your attic, that's always helpful, because if the sun is beaming on your roof and you have good insulation, it'll keep the house cold, and then if it is cold outside, the attic will insulate the heat and keep it in the house. Heat rises, right? And if your attic isn't properly insulated, all of the heat in your house and your money goes right through the roof. Literally. This one will require some effort on your part, but following through on this tip will save you a ton of money over the years. Now what you do is measure the square footage of your attic and buy rolls of insulation, definitely greater than an R13, but again, some states recommend an R19, but usually nothing higher than an R30 rating. Now when you are using insulation, wear a mask and gloves when working with it, because it irritates the skin. It's like a fiberglass, so make sure you're covered up, long sleeves, a mask, and gloves. It's not unhealthy, but it does itch. Number 7, find those leaks and cracks. Now, if you had an audit done on your house by an energy efficient person, they would tell you that this is one of the biggest areas of opportunity for people, is finding the leaks and the cracks that they have in their house. For a visual, if you were to add up all the small cracks and holes in your house, they'd probably add up to a small window wide open, letting cold air in and hot air out. So take the time to find gaps in windows, doors, pipes, electrical and phone lines, your dryer duct, and much more. Put some weather strips around your doors and windows. You can buy insulation foam that comes in a can. It has a straw at the top that allows you to fill in tight spaces. It expands and it fills in even those small cracks. Although this is easy to purchase and easy to use, you have to be extremely careful to not overspray the foam. If you overspray, be sure to clean it off right away. Of all the tasks, this was the most fun finding and filling those gaps all around the house. But again, it expands really large, so you only need a little bit, and if it expands bigger than you need it to, or if it overflows at all, you absolutely need to make sure you clean it up right away, because as soon as it hardens, it will never come off. Number 8 is close the vents in rooms that you don't use. So you can create your own zone heating or air conditioning. If you close the vents in the room, then your ear will focus only on the vents that you have open. I have a room in my house that is not currently in use. So I shut the hot air ducts and I made sure the windows and the doors were properly sealed to limit energy leakage. Why waste your money heating up extra square footage of your house that you don't even use? And open the drapes and shades for all of your windows during the day to let the sun heat your home. And especially in the winter time, I found I opened up my bedroom window and it's like a natural heater in there because the sun is shining in. And then in the evening, pull them back down for added insulation. It is amazing how much direct sunlight streaming into your home helps to heat things up. And number 10 is a fireplace can help and hurt your heating costs. If you're not using your fireplace, make sure the damper is closed because that automatically lets cold air into your home if it's open when you're not using it. Obviously, when you're using your fireplace, that damper must be open or you will have all this backlash of smoke coming into your house. When it is closed, inspect the damper and feel if cold air is still leaking in. If you're using your fireplace, make sure the heating in the rest of your house is reduced or turned off. Because a fireplace, electric or gas or wood, can really help heat the whole house. A pellet fireplace can do that very quickly. It heats up the room that you're in very, very hot. But do make sure you have a fireplace checked every single year and inspected by a professional, licensed professional, because that smoke or the stuff that comes from the fireplace gets stuck to the liner wall. And if it's not cleaned every year, it can be very dangerous. So make sure that you're having your fireplace inspected each and every year before you use it. And cleaned. Taking the time to implement these tips will drastically reduce your home heating bills. And you can get most of them done in just one day, but the payoff will last for as long as you live there. I followed through on each one of these tips, and the following winter my bills were about 25% lower, saving me about $100 a month. So roll up your sleeves, follow these tips, and start saving money on your heating costs. You can also visit us at www.homebuyersinventory.com, get more tips, and get a free winter heating checklist.